Georgie Murphy, good to see you. Welcome to Popternative.
Thanks, Petey. Thank you for having me.
This is a long time coming. This is your Popternative debut. This is crazy.
Yeah, and for those watching, me and Petey go way back to Toronto days.
Way back, which is really exciting. I feel like you're a hard interview because there's so many. It's just a credit to how good you are as a storyteller, but there's so many things to talk about. Obviously, Stumble is the focal point, but we have Safehave, Small Achievable Goals, Gen V. I mean, there's a lot going on in Georgie Murphy's world right now.
Yes, it's been great. But yeah, Stumble's definitely the most recent. And I think, I love everything I've ever been a part of, but it's truly like my love,
Absolutely. I always find it interesting when you work on something like when people work on, a drama or a comedy that's about a sport or about music or about dance, you can look at it as two things, right? So like for Stumble, do you feel like you're on a cheerleading show that has comedy in it, or are you on like a comedy show about cheerleading? Do you think about that at all? You can see it as both sides, I guess, but I'm wondering what you kind of think about that.
Yeah, I mean, we did so many rehearsals and so many cheer practices, and we were working with Monica Aldama and Dawson Delgado, who are like so acclaimed in the cheer world and beyond. And I actually had to remind myself sometimes, Petey, like, okay, this is not a real cheer team. Like I would get so competitive with myself and like, I can do this better, or I can hit this harder. And like, I would go home and beat myself up. And then I'd be like, Georgie, this is a show. You're an actor. So, actually the worlds really did blend together. And sometimes it felt like I was actually a cheerleader, which is awesome because I always wanted to be a cheerleader, but I never got the chance to. But yeah, I think that the lines did get super blurred, which was great. It was amazing. It was so awesome to be so immersed in the world.
You threw in a Seinfeld quote in there that you didn't even know, worlds collide, right? So like, absolutely. No, it's really exciting. Take me through getting there for the first time. Like that script to screen journey is always interesting because you get these episodes and everything, and you can imagine it's a cheer squad and, the slice of life component and the kind of goofy kind of antics, but then you get there and it's real, right? You see everything. What's that like for you when you actually get there and start filming everything?
Well, I mean, when I first read the pilot, I was like, it was really one of the, like seldom a script comes across your desk where it like just jumps out at you.
Yep.
Like sometimes you read it and you really got to dig and sort of create this world in your mind, but Stumble really just like hit me. And then when I showed up on set, I mean, we had like the world's best writers and the best directors, and they sort of just like allowed us to play with the script. So it was like sort of script meets comedic actors meets wonderful direction and writing. And we really just got to play. So, a lot of what you see in the show is like comes right from the script, but then there's these really special moments that are just of the actor themselves. There was a lot of improv, a lot of ad-libbing, and that's really where I had so much fun, because that's like a dream as an actor to be able to bring your own, creative specialness to a role.
Absolutely. And you can answer this with your character, but just in general. You can answer this with Stumble, but just in general. I mean, every show that has that kind of coming of age, slice of life component to it, right, will always have characters that are figuring it out, right? Doing self-reflection, taking it day by day and like finding themselves. And I'm just wondering from an acting perspective, like, do you find it more, fun or like more challenging to play kind of lost characters doing self-reflection, finding themselves? Because from the viewer perspective, they don't know they're lost. So I always find that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's so much fun to play characters that, you see yourself in. And I'm like a young person who's also trying to figure everything out. So in playing Sally, who didn't have everything figured out, but had a very positive outlook on life, it was so much fun because, yeah, she doesn't know what her next day is going to look like. She doesn't know, even where her next meal is going to come from. So, yeah, playing her was such a delightful challenge. There wasn't a day where I was like, oh, I have to play Sally. I mean, and in every single role that I've done, I've never dreaded it. Like when I played Jenna in Safe Haven, like that was also, she was super, lost in her own world in a different way. And that was also great because I really got to like dig into like an artist's life. And Sally's like the total opposite because she's such an optimist. But yeah, it was such a delightful challenge. That was long-winded. Whew. Sorry.
No, it was a great answer. It's a good segue to my next question. It's almost like you knew what I was going to ask. You're a pro.
I know you. I know you.
Well, it's kind of one of those things too, where you do play characters that you can relate to, but you do play characters that are different, right? And like different worlds, and like we're talking about Stumble, but you've been in Gen V, Small Achievable Goals, and of course Safehave on Tubi. Like, how separate are past things compared to something like Stumble mindset preparation wise? Like, do you bring things from past projects to something like Stumble, or are they completely separate once you wrap them?
Well, I mean, Stumble is such a different format than anything
Yes.
I've ever done because it's the mockumentary. So I didn't really bring any of my. I mean, I brought my past
I
experiences
mean, you're
as
gonna
an
bring
actor.
yourself naturally because like Georgie Murphy from each
Yeah,
project, right? Yeah.
yeah. But in the world of a mockumentary, it moves so quickly. It's not like you're doing a drama. It's not like you're doing like a procedural, which I have done as well. And like, it's a totally different world. So I brought my lived experience, but Sally in and of her like just herself, she's her own entity, and I feel like she's very close to who I am. I always like to say like she's the best parts of me turned up to like 15.
When you found out like what it was, because so when you auditioned, did you know what it was, or did you just know like NBC cheerleader pilot? Like, what did they tell you it was?
Well, I knew that it was called Stumble,
Okay.
and I didn't know if that was going to be the name because a lot of times you get like code names or whatever. And I knew that Monica Aldama was attached to it, and I knew the writers and the directors, and I didn't know just how like amazing and fun it would be. When I read it, I was like, I really want this role. I really want this role. And it actually turned out to be, you know better and more, amazing than I could have ever dreamt.
Absolutely. So you found out. So at one point, it's like a mockumentary style and everything. Are you starting to think about like the past incredible kind of mockumentary sitcoms and like the breaking the fourth wall, the cameras? Like, what was that like? Specifically, soaking all that in.
Petey, I'm
Yes.
the world's biggest Office fan.
Yeah.
Okay. The US version, I know people love the UK version, but I'm a big fan of Steve
Mhm.
Carell. I'm a big fan of, all of those real, like, comedic mockumentary legends.
Yeah.
So when I knew, I was auditioning for a mockumentary, I went right to The Office and like I locked into, when they spike the camera and, just sort of their cadence and their patterns. And I really drew a lot from people like that. And Ellie Kemper, who plays Erin, I really saw some similarities between Erin and my character Sally.
Another
I mean,
similarity is both of you are Popternative guests. Like I've interviewed her too. So
yes.
yeah, absolutely.
But so I kind of channeled. She lived like a really bubbly. She had a bubbly personality, but she was in the mockumentary world, and so I watched her. And yeah, I mean, like, there's so many great ones, like Parks and Rec, all of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always cool to like interview people from The Office or Parks and Rec because there's so many quotes and things I could talk to them about. Like we've had a lot. Like Rainn Wilson's been on the show, Craig Robinson's been on the show, but it's like, yeah, it's like those. There's so many quotes. I'm a big Seinfeld guy. Like that's my show. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
and I feel like a
Yes.
lot of those. Like I feel like you look at shows like The Office and you look at shows like Parks and Rec, a lot of those writers watched a lot of Seinfeld and Friends. Like it's just they had to, right? Like those shows are so
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, so there was a show that you did that's really really cool that I wanted to plug super quick called Safe Haven, and it's on Tubi, and it's really cool, and you're so good in it, and it's like this weird kind of like supernatural horror sci-fi, I guess, like graphic novel. But it's so cool, right? What was it like diving into that world of like, thriller, supernatural horror at a time where that content's very popular nowadays as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I, moved out to Winnipeg and I lived there for like 3.5, 4 months, and I was really immersed in the world, and I started drawing myself, and I did a lot of research on the things Jenna was going through, and people that had lived experience with addiction and depression and things like that. And I mean, I love the horror genre. I want to be like a scream queen at some point. Like,
Mhm.
I think that'd be so much fun. So it was so amazing to be able to sort of dip my toe into that genre. I mean, it was so beautiful and like challenging to keep track of because Safe Haven follows like two separate worlds.
Yes.
Um, and we were block shooting, so it was like sort of like mental gymnastics, like trying to figure out what we were shooting every day. But you know what? Like, that prepared me for a lot. Like, I feel like I could do anything now because that was such an amazing challenge.
Absolutely. And then, getting to work on Gen V, what's that like being part of such a big universe? Because it's like the boys and that world's big and there's fans from all over the world. Like, just what was it like being part of that world?
I mean, being part of Gen V was so amazing. It's like such a, it's so new, but I feel like it's like already a classic. Like The Boys is a classic, and Eric Kripke and everybody that created those shows, they're like just so, you know, they have minds that like you just can't find everywhere, and they like, think of things and they write things and they're brave and it's politically poignant. And I was very proud to be a part of that show. It was my first big, American show.
Yeah.
And so I was very intimidated. I came in on the second season as a recurring guest star and I was like super nervous, but everyone was so kind. And Jess Clement, like, she's one of my good friends now. And yeah, it was cool. I mean, it taught me a lot about like just taking the damn risk. Just do the crazy thing.
Absolutely. No, so many cool projects that you've done. It's so amazing. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. Episodes are continuing to roll out of Stumble on NBC, which is really exciting. So they gotta check that out. Georgie, so great chatting with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Katie, anytime.
I know, this is crazy. Finally, we you know what? It's gonna move quick. There's gonna be other opportunities for interviews because you have a lot going on. So super quick, you're gonna be like, it's gonna be your third time on, and we're gonna remember it's gonna be worth the wait, so to speak.
Yes, right, yeah, and I love your platform and everything you do.
I really appreciate that. Your Instagram account is just your name if you want to keep up to date with everything.
Yes, Georgie Murphy.
There's a lot of Stumble content.
I know, but it's because it's so good. It's because it's so funny.
I didn't say that. I said it like good, like go. There's Stumble content.
Yes.
Like you took that as like an insult for a second.
No, I mean I love the show. So check out.
You love the show because that's the point of all this, right?
Right. Check out my Instagram for lots of Stumble content and a Popternative interview.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Popternative.com has other cool stuff as well. You can catch Georgie Murphy as Sally in Stumble on NBC. Until next time, it's Georgie and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.